I love that video. That's the first time I've seen that.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. All right, guys. Welcome to Stand Up, Stand Out America tonight on Friday night. And I have the one and only Natalia, the Red Pill Latina, on tonight. Woo! I am so excited to have Natalia on tonight. Man, sister, I've known you for so long. And at first it was like I just knew you through, the social media, and I would watch your videos, and then I finally met you in person, and then now we're like kind of, even now you're like more in person. So it's like it's so exciting to have you on Stand Up, Stand Out America. Natalia, welcome tonight. Tell the audience just a little bit about you.
Well, thank you so much, Bianca, for having me tonight. I'm super excited to be here. I feel honored. And yeah, I mean, a little bit about me. A lot of people know me as a Red Pill Latina. I started my social media, I think it was 20, let's see, 18, 19, somewhere there. And the reason why I started is because I felt like the Latino community needed a voice because we have been deceived for so long. I personally didn't grow up as a conservative. I was a Democrat at some point. I grew up, the house where I grew up in, they had like pictures of Che Guevara and pictures of Allende, and there were heroes. And I was brought up to think that socialism was good. So when I started realizing that it wasn't good because of Obama, actually, Obama made me a conservative because I started seeing all the stuff that he was doing that I didn't agree with him.
You and me both.
He was, I mean, I never been for war, and he was a warmonger. He started 7 wars in 8 years. He was in power. He did the refugee crisis happened because of him, because he just bombed all those countries. And so a lot of things, the pro-life issues, a lot of things that I didn't agree with, and I couldn't believe he was doing. And I started like sympathize more with the conservative movement, with the Republicans, and I started hanging out with Republicans, business owners, and I realized they believe in free market and opportunities for all and the American dream, and that is actually something that everybody should strive for. Hold on, my dog is right here. She's gonna.
You're fine.
He was. Sorry, she was
Hey,
gonna.
we love dogs. Oh my God, it's a pug.
She was behind the camera and she was gonna knock it down, so that's why I have to grab her real quick.
Oh my God, I
Get
love
out of
it.
here. Sorry about that.
Give a pug a hug.
Yeah, she's my little rascal. But yeah, I mean, I started realizing more and more how Republicans actually align with my values in my culture as a Latino. Sometimes we think Latinos, we vote Democrat by default because my parents told me and my grandparents, and we believe we've been told, we've been saturated by this propaganda everywhere. If you go see the news, if you see any Latin show, it's a propaganda machine.
Yes.
That we are to believe a certain way or we're traitors of our own race. And that is not so. That is a form of control. And we need to get free from that. And that's why I started like going into social media and speaking my mind into social media and doing these videos, because I felt like if I don't do it, many people might be going through the same thing that I'm going through, but they don't have any support system. Like I didn't at first, because my family didn't like that I supported Trump. My dad was a self-called socialist, and he didn't like that when I said, I think I'm a conservative. He really hated that. So I felt really alone in the first years of my conservative walk, and I felt empowered through those challenges to be a voice to maybe many people that are going through the same things that I'm going through. So that's why I started.
And I think you did exactly. I started back in 2016. So I felt that, I needed to be a voice. So I was just with you. I feel like the Latino for Trump movement, we pretty much knocked, the barrier down for conservatism, right, within our Latino community. And so we made it easier a little easier for people that once in 2017, 2018, 2019 started to speak out. But when you came into the scene, what I love about our community is that we're so creative. And I really loved your videos were so creative. The way that you messaged your opinions and your views were very creative. And I think that's what resonated with people. You were able to capture that and be able to message just that small principle and value to the Latinos. And that's what I think that people started to follow you, and you became someone that people resonated with. They were like, because I know I saw you and I was like, there's another one like me. Like, it was like I was excited to see these Latino voices popping up everywhere saying we don't believe in abortion. We don't believe in critical race theory. We don't believe in the LGBTQ agenda in our schools for our kids. We believe in a better education. We believe in entrepreneurship. We don't want to be overtaxed and overregulated. We don't believe, obviously, sending our kids to war unless it's absolutely necessarily right. But we are not one to be like, oh yeah, let's go start wars just for oil or whatever. And so I think that it was very important for Latinos to come out and to start fighting for our freedom and liberty, but for our principles. And so, and even like your dad, I'm sure that raising you, his views probably do align with you, but it's their program that we're Democrat, we're socialist, or we believe in this, like the hand me down, and we're poor people, and we can't work for ourselves. So I think that it's like a whole generation of this, and I think that that's why it was really important for you to start speaking out. So what happened after the big sensation? You became big TikToker and a big Instagrammer, and people were following you. Then what happened? Like what people started reaching out to you, or what happened? How did?
Well, thank you so much, Franco, for saying that. I appreciate all your words. What happened after, like on 2020, I started talking to, well, I received a call from the ACGOP, and they wanted me to get involved with the Latinos for Trump, to help at the center, at the Latinos for Trump Center.
Right.
And so I was like, that's fabulous. I would love that. And it was such a perfect timing for me, because I was trying to figure out how am I going to be helping in not just social media, because I wanted to transition. I love social media, and that's great, but I wanted to be boots on the ground.
Right.
And how can I do that? Right. And so I started praying. I was like, God, I need a,
open door or avenue.
An open door and avenue, because I don't even know how to start. Honestly, how do I even go out there? How do I talk to people face to face? I don't even know how. I never been part of the GOP before. Like I said, I come from a socialist background, so I had no idea. So when this lady called me and said, we need you, she's seen me on social media, and she knew I was in Arizona. So it's like, we need your voice, and we need you to be face to face. I was like, that's such an answer to prayer for me. So I started working for Latinos for Trump, and we actually were the fourth, or center was the fourth most successful center in the entire country. I don't know. Don't ask me what's the first, second, and third. I don't know. But I know they told us at the end of the day that we were very effective with the Latino community. And we started doing just fun things that every Latino will feel comfortable in. We invited
them.
And welcome. Exactly. That was the main message, is for how can we reach out to Latinos that they don't feel threatened by us. We're not gonna, and we have many discussions. They want to talk, they want relationship, they want, to be part of something. We want to have a say. We want to be seated at the table. And that's how we approach the Latino community. And by the end of the cycle, four of our precincts became from blue to red on election night. Of course,
awesome.
By the middle of the night, everything changed suddenly. But by election night, a lot of Latinos came forward, because we were in the bluest, most Latino area in Maricopa County, in the south side. So we did a lot of, things for the mom, for the dads, for the whole family. We knock thousands and thousands of doors every day under the heat of Arizona. I was really
Oh, it's
I was
brutal.
really tan by then, but we had a great time. So our team did an awesome job, and they were devoted to it. So I'm super grateful for that. So after that, after we know what happened on the 2020 election, was like, what am I supposed to be doing next? Because I was a little bit discouraged, like everybody else, right? All I know is that I wanted to continue to fight, and I wanted to continue to reach out to the Latino community. And
Right.
that's when I received a call from the RNC to come to Texas and open a center in
Woohoo!
San Antonio. So based on what happened during the 2020 election. So I was excited, and we left everything. And it was a big sacrifice, but we believe this was the call of God for my life. We just bought a house in Phoenix, Arizona. We loved the house. And we lived there for 3 months. And they called me. So we had to
Wow.
sell the house and move to Texas.
Wow.
And but it was well worth it, because last cycle in San Antonio, we were the first, we were the most effective center in the entire Texas. So there were 5 different centers, and our center had the most events, the most trafficked, a lot of things that happened there, and we had a blast. We brought like music. I had a lot of awesome volunteers in San Antonio that were passionate about the cause, and they help with food, they help with music, they help with everything that we needed.
Right.
So it was fantastic time over there.
I love that. I think that the engagement and outreach is really, really important. We can be on social media, and I love my podcast, I'm on radio, and we can do all those things. That's one way to outreach. But if you're not out there talking to people face to face, it's really hard to build the relationships. You don't build a relationship over this podcast. You're not going to build a relationship over the radio. You're not going to build your relationship with a TikTok, but you will have followers. And then sometimes you run into those followers and they go, "What? I follow you on TikTok, or I follow you on Instagram." And so you already resonate. But to build the relationship, they just know you by the computer, but they don't know you as a person. And I think that's really, really important. And when you're spreading the conservative, message, it's good to be in front of people. Sometimes when you're on the computer, people will start, typing in crazy stuff, right? But when they're in front of your face, they won't really do that. They're a little bit more like relaxed or something. They're not going to attack you. And it's easier to have the conversation and say, well, this is what I believe in, and I can respect what you believe in, but I don't, we can agree to disagree. And it's important to have those conversations. But sometimes I have found that I don't agree with somebody, but they'll bring a good point up, and I'll be like, actually, I didn't think about that. And that's a really good point. And I will think that through. And I think that the dialogue is very important. But I love that we have you in Texas now. I mean, I was
Yeah.
excited. I was excited when I saw that you were coming to Texas. I said, "Oh my God, we got her in Texas." And so that was very exciting for us. And so, I'm so looking forward to doing some great things in Texas. And now, you've moved to a closer part where I'm at, and I don't ever disclose where we live completely, for obviously our safety reasons, but we're, in the Houston area, and Houston is, like 9 states. But I think that, there's a lot of work to be done here, but there's a lot of potential, and there's room for growth. And I know that we're excited to have you here for sure. So Natalia, tell us really quick, what would you say is one of the most important, like, topics, a hot topic for you? What would be something that you say, that's just something I'm never gonna, like, that I'm gonna fight for that till it comes to fruition? Like, what would be one of those things that you just know in this movement that you are not going to stop fighting, whether it's for your family, for your kids, for your household, for yourself, for your parents? What is that one topic that you say, I'm just so passionate about that?
I think that just information in general, censorship has different phases, right? One is they don't let you speak. They erase so many of my videos because I was speaking the truth. But another form of censorship is when they don't give you the entire truth. They give you lies instead of a truth.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for me, the same reason why I started, I will continue to fight forever. And like you said, when you talk to people, it's different than when you just do a video. It's because you are able to deliver information that they don't know. It's been hidden from them.
Yes.
Government, by the news, by the media, by our elected officials that want to control us. So but they control us by taking information, by giving us half of information and a bunch of lies. So
Right.
we get outraged, we get angry against each other. We start acting up because we are believing lies. So my main focus is just deliver the information that people need to understand. When it comes to the Latinos, when I started knocking on doors, by the way, or in the last cycle, our team knocked on over 1 million doors in Texas. Our
That's
team,
awesome.
original team, or RNC
Right.
in general, all Texas was like, I think, 4 million.
Wow.
But
When you were knocking on, I want to ask you, because I've done that myself. I've done that in the Hispanic community and really just gone and talked to people. And I have found that for the majority of the time, they're very uninformed and uneducated with politics. They really don't know. What was your experience when you were knocking on doors with the Hispanic community? What were the number one concerns? Because we may think that, it's abortion or something, but for them, it's like maybe like the quality of life, immediate quality of life. What were some of those concerns that they would tell you?
well, first of all, I love knocking on doors. I love the face-to-face interaction. Even when people are spicy and ready to fight, I love it. It's like, let's go, because I'm like, interested in having this conversation with you. I want to help you understand and walk through the issues that you are experiencing, that you're fearful for. And that's one of the things also that I learned how to talk to people when I knock on doors with open questions. Instead of saying, hey, here, vote Republican, you say, hey, my name is this. I just was wondering, I'm talking to the neighbors and wondering what would be the main issue that you're concerned about? What makes you afraid for your future? And people start opening up, and that's open a conversation. So when in 2020 and in Arizona, I noticed the main issues that Latinos have concern of is that it was immigration / DACA, and it was a pro-life issues, which it was funny because they don't say that. They say, when you bring up that issue, they're like, no, I don't agree with that. That's killing babies. But yeah, you are voting for that, but they have no idea. Like, no, I'm not voting.
They don't connect the dots.
They don't connect the dots. And but they completely don't agree with that. Even liberal Hispanics don't agree with abortion, at least in my own experience. Right. most, I'm not gonna say everybody, but most people. And the third issue was economy and business, because most Latinos are business owners.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
And so we by being business owners, we should be supporting capitalism.
Yes.
But we don't, because we've been brainwashed that capitalism is evil, right? But that would help our business. So that's one of the things on 2020 that had the three issues that Latinos care the most, based on my own interactions with them, was those three issues. Now, last cycle, the main issue that Latinos care for is the economy, inflation, and safety. Now they're scared because a lot because of the issue, and then again they don't connect the two things. Because of open borders, we see the cartels barging into this country. The cartels are the most powerful than ever and richer than ever, thanks to Joe Biden, because open borders. So they're doing their business. They're trafficking children, they're trafficking women, they're trafficking drugs, they're trafficking firearms, and they're coming in here. They had a hot spot in San Antonio, close to our community center. The cartels did. Wow. So people were aware of that. So they were scared. So that's one of the issues that they care for: safety. They want to be safe. And the other issue, as always, is the economy. The economy, that I already said economy. The economy, the inflation, safety, and the schools. So that's when the schools, and that's when you come with the school choice alternative.
Which Natalia, it's all quality of life.
It's all quality of life.
If you don't have a job, you can't support your family. If the streets are not safe, you can't go outside to go pay your bills, go to the grocery store. You can't take your kids to the park. It's a quality of life. If you can't do any of that,
safe.
Exactly. If you're not safe, you have no job. And then the third one you said was the school. Then I mean, to send to school is even dangerous now because obviously the big thing is the school shootings and and then your kids are learning critical race theory and they're being told that they need to read books that have pornographic photos in them and they tell them there's books that talk to them about the okay of committing suicide, thoughts of suicide, transgender, being okay with kissing boys and girls. And so as a Hispanic woman, and I have children and I know you have children. I know I send my kid because I want him to learn math, science, social studies. I want them to know history. And I really need them to learn to read and write. That's more important than anything. If you can't read and write, you're not gonna be able to get through life. That's what I sent my kid to do. But I didn't send my kid to go and learn that it was okay for boys to kiss boys and morals. I didn't send him to go and learn morals and values. That's for the house. And so I know that I'm a homeschooling mom. And I think that we have that in common. I know that you homeschool one of your child. So I've homeschooled both my boys, but they did go to elementary and junior high. But I homeschooled after elementary. So I'm a homeschooling mom. So I believe in definite school choice. I've been for that obviously for years now, and so I really believe that parents should decide where to send their kids to school. So I know that that's something that's important. Again, it's the quality of life. If our kids do not get educated, Natalia, how are they going to get jobs? How are they going to go into a workforce if they can't read and write or they can't add? If they go work at I know that there's a computer, but what happens when the computer goes down? I've been in a restaurant and the computers went down and the little kids didn't know how to make change. They didn't know how to, they were like, they didn't know what to do because they're so used to the computer telling them. So I'm like, okay, well, this is why you need to learn the basics. So it's a quality of life, I think, for Hispanics, for Latinos, is that they just want to have what's part of that American dream, right? The American dream is what you want it to be. If you want to be the restaurant owner, if you want to be the best tamale maker in the barrio, whatever, it doesn't matter. Your American dream is your American dream.
Yes.
And so I think that's really important. I want to share my screen here. I have pulled up your Instagram. and I want to show see if you can see this, one of your TikToks. See if we can play this. Well, hold on, let me see. Okay, hold on, let me do this again.
Crazy times we're living in right now, guys. I felt compelled to do this video because I don't hear from any mainstream media. They're not informing us as usual that the dollar is collapsing. India, Russia, China, Saudi Arabia, South Africa, all these oil superpowers of the world have come to an agreement that they're not going to use the dollar anymore. They're going to use the Chinese yuan instead. What it means for us is hyperinflation. And let me remind you that our administration right now have printed trillions of dollars. In fact, 40% of all the money ever printed in the United States, in the history of the United States, have been printed in the last 4 years, 40%. And the reason why we haven't seen this massive hyperinflation yet is because the dollar, we have petrodollars, which means it's backed by oil and also is a world currency. Now, after this agreement, that's not going to be anymore. And now the Federal Reserve started on April 3rd what is called Fed Now, which is the system which that is going to replace the dollar for digital currency. So I highly recommend, if you haven't heard, do some research on the Fed Now system, so you're not being caught by surprise. Oh, of course, it's not going to happen overnight, but it's already here. Crazy times we're living.
Oh, I didn't realize I was muted. That is a very, very informative video.
Thank you.
That most people would say, what is she talking about? What do you mean? What dollar? Like, they would probably think, the average uninformed voter will think that you're a conspiracy theorist right there.
Yeah.
What is she talking about? The dollar. Yeah, they're gonna think you're crazy. They're gonna think that you know what you're talking about. And so Natalia, tell us a little bit about that. Like, you've obviously educated yourself about something going on economically that will affect all Americans, but I think Latinos are just definitely don't know about this.
Yeah, okay, so this is super important to know right now at the times that we're living in. If you know history, you understand that the dollar used to be backed by gold, but Nixon changed that, and now the dollar became petrodollars, which is backed by oil, right? So every time there was a transaction overseas through oil, they had to use the dollar. So that's why the dollar became the currency of the world. So even if we are high inflation right now, we're not witnessing the high inflation yet so much, although we've seen it, because our dollars go around the world. They're being used around the world. So what happened now is that China, it did an alliance with Russia, with India, Brazil. What was the other one?
Africa. Wasn't it Africa?
Africa too. Right now, there's a lot of countries. They became, which is an alliance that they're not going to be using the dollars anymore through their transactions. They're going to use the Chinese currency, which is going to be a form of digital currency. They're not going to use like the one, like it's going to be a form of Chinese digital currency. So now FedEx Now is an app that everybody's going to be forced to use, even without their will. Because a lot of people said that, oh, we're just not going to download the app. But it's not so easy. Now every big corporation is going to have to go through FedEx Now, like Amazon. Do you want to buy something through Amazon? Amazon first has to go to FedEx Now and then to your bank account. So they're going to have access to you anyways. So they want to create a digital currency to erase the dollar, and they're working on it now. It's already here, but it's going to be in full force, I think, in July. But it's coming, and a lot of people are not even aware of. And if you have a lot of savings, you better start investing now, because the dollar is not going to worth anything. And I'm not going to say this is going to happen in December. It's not going to worth anything. I really don't know, but it's going to come.
They're implementing it. They're implementing it
now. So is it going to come? Is it going to be here in a year, in 2 years, 3 years? I have no idea. But they're already in the works, and they're already implementing it, and it's already here, and they're already doing transactions without using the dollar. And it's hundreds of countries now. It started with these 5 countries, but now it's hundreds of countries.
It's like they're almost going to force you to use something. I think they did a test run during COVID with this, because during COVID, when everything was shut down, if you went through the restaurants, you couldn't pay with cash. You had to either pay with a credit card, and if you had cash, they didn't have change.
Yeah.
So they were almost trying to condition to not ask for any quarters or dimes or nickels or pennies. They were almost trying to get rid of the change. And I've heard people that there is a shortage of change, of the quarters and the pennies and the nickels and the dimes. And I'm like, how is that possible? But they're literally trying to get away from that. And then now they want to get rid of the dollar. And so, many Hispanics and I know my family grew up like this, they didn't really believe in the bank. You know, they didn't believe in putting all their money in the bank. They might put some money in the bank so that they could pay their bills because they knew they had to, right? Write a check or whatever. But most Hispanics, they're like the Chinese. They keep their money in the under their mattress, right?
The mattress.
Yeah, that's how I mean, and I don't know that everybody keeps it under the mattress, but that's the term, right? My
Yeah.
abuelita would say, no, 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 no. You know, my mother says my abuelita literally used to dig up holes and she would hide money in the ground, because she didn't want to go to the bank. They didn't trust the banks. So can you imagine if you've been saving, like if you're, and if you're, especially if you're in the lower income bracket and you've been saving and it's $4,000, and that's a lot of money for you, right? And you've been saving, and it's taking you 10 years to save $4,000, right? Because you put a little away. Can you imagine what happens if they collapse everything and all you have left is $4,000, and then to be told that it's not worth anything? Oh, did we freeze? Oh, I think we froze her. Well, I'm going to wait for her. Let's see if we can get her back here. All right. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, you froze for a little bit and it went off. Okay, but I was saying, can you imagine what happens to the older people that have saved that $4,000 and then be told that their money is not going to be worth anything?
Yes, and that has happened before in other countries. I mean, look at Venezuela, and it happened overnight. That's one of the things. And why is the media not telling us anything? And this is what I believe. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I believe this is done on purpose, and they want to ruin America, and they're not telling us anything because they're gonna tell us when we're not gonna be able to help ourselves. Like too late to do anything.
Yes.
That's what they're gonna tell us. Oh, the
Yes.
dollar crash, you're screwed. And everybody's gonna panic. And we saw what happened during COVID, and it's gonna be 10 times worse because it's not just a recession. This is something that is gonna. They want to bring the United States down to its knees. We're in the way of a globalist agenda, And Trump said it.
And many others now are saying it because Trump was saying it before and nobody wanted to believe him. So a lot of people were speaking out, just like you said. This is why the information is so important, and it's important to go talk to people face to face because we're not able to get this information out. And then many of us were told that we were spreading misinformation and disinformation, and I have press credentials, and I even got censored. The left on Facebook, remember they had the fact checkers?
Oh yeah.
Facebook, and on Instagram they had the fact checkers. But every single fact checker was a left, liberal, socialist, communist person. That's all the agenda. They were not, nonpartisan, not non-biased. They had a bias. So no matter what you said, they would completely say, nope, that's wrong. That's wrong. I think I once put something out about the Star Spangled Banner, about the history of it. They fact checked me and said I was an incorrect information, and they banned me from Facebook, put me in the Facebook jail. So this is the thing that we are fighting. And if we don't talk to people face to face, Natalia, then we can't get this message out. And then now this whole AI system that's coming in, I think it was a CEO of oh my goodness, Gateway just put something out about this. Gateway Pundit, the CEO resigned of it's one of the media or social media, and he said this AI thing is too much. He doesn't want any part of it. And I think we might be getting frozen again. Let's see here. Up. And here all right, you're back. I'm trying to see who it was because Gateway Pundit just put this out today about this, and I think it was on Instagram. So let me look, Natalia. If you know anything about it, let me know. But somebody from they resigned, and it's a big deal. Let me see if it tells me here. It might have been like in a storyline or something. Here, who was it? I just saw it today. It's like the CEO of, it's like a little old man. But anyway, he was saying that this AI, it's too dangerous. So you have Elon Musk
Elon Musk, yeah.
talking about that even he thinks the AI is dangerous. Have you researched enough about the artificial intelligence and how it's mimicking people? Have you read anything about that and know anything about that?
Not too much on the AI. I've heard about what Elon Musk thinks in regards of that, that it could be very potentially very dangerous. Yeah, sure.
I think we've lost you. Let's see. We've got a little bit of, see if we can get her back on.
Did I
Oh,
lose it?
yes, there
Okay.
you are. There you are.
So what I was saying is like right now, of course, is very convenient for us to have AI, but eventually, right now I saw that in California they're giving guns to robots to, like as if they are police,
Right?
to arrest people. So imagine that they don't have any kind of sympathy. They don't have any kind of understanding of nuance. They just see black and blue. I mean, black and white. They don't have any
Right.
nuance or understanding or sympathy for people. So the worst can happen, and we understand now based on facts that they can become more and more and more uh, smart to the point that they can have their own will. So I know it sounds very science fiction,
I
but
know.
I think it's real. I think it could happen.
Well, someone was telling me out in Florida that they had they've been privy to see how the AI works, and they said it is very, very scary. You can literally, the AI picks up your mannerisms, how you speak, your vocals, and it can literally regurgitate or make a video, and it sounds just like you. It says it knows how to speak like you. So if somebody could literally post a video and say that's Natalia,
Exactly.
but it's not you. You're like, I didn't do that. But it knows, the AI mimics, and they know exactly how you say things, they know how you talk, they know your vocals, and they said this is very, very, very dangerous.
Extremely
And
dangerous. And imagine how many people can be framed by things they didn't commit.
exactly. They're setting this up, and it's extremely extremely dangerous. And so there's a lot of things I was reading on Gateway Pundit. The far left Vice. Do you remember Vice? They were
Yes,
always putting all these, they called us terrorists, and I mean they were just always putting all these things out. Remember, they filed for bankruptcy.
I
I mean,
saw.
woke people are now feeling right to be anti-American, is what I feel that is happening. And so I think that patriots and Americans and just people in general are just sick of it. They're sick of the whole propaganda. They're sick of the messaging. I think people just want to go back to hardworking, putting your kids in school, making sure they're educated, making sure that you can pay your bills, and and live a good family lifestyle. You want to be able to take your children without fearing that you're going to get shot at, or that you can take them to the park and they can go and explore and run around and be children, you
Yeah.
know. And right now, public safety, like you said, is a big concern. So, so I think that it's very important, Natalia, because you've built a good following on TikTok and on Instagram. So I think that you continuing to speak up and speak out about issues that are, you would think, common sense, is so important. And it's going to be even more important with everything going on, and moving into the 2024. We're almost going to see if we're going to take the country back and put it in a good, on a good path, or if we're going to lose it completely, because we are at a crossroads.
Yeah,
That's
we are.
how I feel.
And unfortunately, I think that most people in this country feel this way. they just want to be left alone. They want to take care of their families. They want to thrive. They want to open businesses. They want opportunities. But that's the majority. But we have been suppressed. Our opinions, our voice are being suppressed. This system is rigged. All the people that are being boosted on social media and everywhere you see are people that are for the agenda, for the globalist agenda, for the socialist agenda, for the agenda anti-we the people, anti-United States. So thank you for sharing my Instagram.
I know I'm scrolling as you're talking. I'm scrolling as you're talking because I want people to see, the content that you put out and just how how much work you've done. This looks like a group of people right here. It looks like you all went block walking. Is this
That's what it,
or block walking?
that was for all the local people that was running in San Antonio.
That is amazing. That's amazing. Being supportive of people, and I want to, I'm just kind of going through here. So I want people to know that, obviously if they hadn't heard of you, I mean, they're crazy if they hadn't heard of you, but yeah, you are Red Pill Latina, on Instagram.
I'm not sure if you have seen this yet, but TikTok pissed off many Latinos. They did an ad for Hispanic Heritage Month, and it kind of backfired on them. Check this out.
When something is Latinx created, it just hits different. It's that beat. You gotta move to. Even if you don't understand the word. It's that new spin on old classics. Latinx created es pura magia. It's writing, painting, and moving. Trying it all, starting from scratch. It's a challenge. A blank wall.
Did you see all that comment section? It was fire. The term Latinx does not represent us. It was made by white progressives from California to change our language. Spanish is a beautiful language. It does not need to be changed. What are you trying to say there? Like literally, like really, what are you trying to say? That the language of our family, the language of our ancestors is fundamentally inadequate? That it needs to be changed? You understand that by doing that, you're excluding us. You're excluding Latinos. You're not empowering Latinos by changing our language. That is part of our culture, is part of our heritage. I'm not sure if you have seen.
That's a perfect example of they're trying to shove this agenda down our throat. If you saw the comments on TikTok, all the Latinos were mad. We're not Latinx, we're Latinos, we're Latinas. So they're just pushing this on us, and we don't even want it.
This is why they call you the Red Pill Latina, because this is what you're capable of doing, is taking their nonsense and flipping it and showing the hypocrisy of them, and then calling them out for trying to degrade us, or saying that our language isn't good enough. And I was listening in the video, and the video says, well, they don't need to know what it means. We don't need to know what Latinx means. Like, we don't need to identify. We don't need to know what Latinx means. We just need to say, yay, Latinx, Latinx what? Latinx files, or you're trying to X-file us out, or, Latinx, what is that? But never it's the nonsense, the recreation of words that they consistently do to us. Natalia, they're constantly trying to, say, well, that's too offensive, so we don't want to use that word anymore. We're going to use this word. They're consistently trying to change vocab words. And what say you? What say you about this?
Well, the thing is that it's so stupid to do that, because Latinx is gender neutral. So we don't say Latino or Latina. But hey, the entire Spanish language is female and male. It's La Mesa, it's female. What are we gonna say? La Mexex? It's like, it's stupid. They don't even take the time to get to know our culture, to understand where we come from. They just want to shove this agenda down our throat, and we're supposed to accept it? Heck no.
Exactly. But they do have their Latinos that are pushing the agenda and saying, "Oh yes, Latinx, yay!" And they are promoting it. And I'm like, have you lost your mind? You know,
Yes.
you wonder where in the world, how there's no logic. There's no logic reasoning to it. So Natalia, what is next for you? What are you looking to do? I mean, you've come a long way. You've become, like I said, a social media sensation. You have great followers, and they always look to see what is next for you and what you're going to say and all that good stuff. What do you want to see here in the next 2 years? What are your goals now? Because I think you've been on a career driven or just goal setting, and you've been accomplishing and you have victories. What's next?
Well, first of all, I just moved to the Houston area, Houston Galveston area. So I'm super excited to get to know the people here and being able to help around here. And I want to be able to extend my my information towards the financial, especially now with the dollar crashing, and how to help people, be ready and be prepared for what's coming. I think I'm gonna start moving into that direction, as well as 2020 is coming. So if President Trump, we know President Trump is going to be the one representing the Republicans. So I'm going to be ready for that as well. In the meantime, I want to start paving my way here and getting to know the locals and getting to know the Houston and Galveston culture, because I noticed like it's so different from San Antonio.
Very different.
Very different. It's like
Yes.
there's so many flavors and so many things. So I'm falling in love with it. So super excited.
Well, we are excited to have you in our area. We're excited that you're going to be, on the ground and helping out, the local grassroots and definitely helping us expand the base and educating people, because I think education is really, again, the main thing. I think that when I go and speak to, Hispanic groups and other people in the community, especially with faith leaders, I don't like to walk into places, Natalia, and tell them you're Republican. I think that's just very insulting. And I think the best approach is always to go in and say, I'm a conservative and this is the way I vote, and I vote for these principles, these values, I vote for these policies. And I do an education. I'd rather educate and say, at the end of the day, I just want you to know where the conservatives stand. And so therefore you can choose for yourself wherever you feel, because maybe at the end of the day, even if if you hear what the conservative message is, maybe at the end of the day, you still don't agree with me. You still believe in social welfare. I mean, I don't know. And that's okay. That's fine. But I want to make sure that Hispanics know that there's an option, that there's choices, and that they don't always have to vote exactly the same way they've been voting because their grandmother and their mother voted this way. And
It's easy. Do you want more money in your pocket? Do you want to pay more taxes or less taxes? Do you want to have choices for education? Do you want to, be broke pretty much? So it's like really the choices that are out there is black and white. It's like if you truly know what conservatism is about, I think you immediately would be for it, because it's all pro family, pro immigrant, even pro American dream, and pro prosperity and business, and that's what we're all about as Hispanics.
that's right. Amen to that.
And about
Amen to that. That's right. Amen to that. I love that. And it's I think it's become now, Natalia, I feel like I see this across the country. I feel that there is a message of now it's not so much I'm Democrat or Republican. It's more about, do you love America? Are you American? Are you pro-America? If you're pro-America, then you should obviously value these following policies. And so I think it's becoming very simple. I know that we were talking about this. I want to get your input on this. Robert Kennedy Jr. has announced that he's running on the Democrat for president. And when he announced, the Democrat Party decided that they weren't going to have debates. And so, because they want Uncle Joe and Kamala to go back into the White House so that they can puppet them and do whatever they want. And so, Lord forbid that Robert Kennedy Jr. is speaking the truth and he's calling woke corporations out. He's against censorship. He is trying to bring out the truth about Fauci and the lies that he told us about COVID. And so he's bringing all these things to the forefront, and Lord forbid he sounds like a Republican, right?
He does. I didn't know he was a Democrat.
Yeah.
The first time I heard him, I thought he was a Republican because of how he talks. And then you have to see that, JFK, he was a Democrat, but he was a conservative Democrat. The thing about the Democrat Party is that these communists hijacked the party.
Yes.
That's why now they're extreme. But
Yes.
they used to be more center. So that's why back in the days, if you said I'm Republican or a Democrat, there was no hate in between the parties. But now they went so far right because all these communists hijacked the party. So now here comes a JFK type of Democrat and is making them go crazy. And of course, they're going to censor him by cancel the debates because they don't want him to speak.
You know what's sad? Do you know what's sad? I've been watching, and the mainstream media refuses to interview him. So guess who's interview him? All the interviews he's doing is on conservative media podcasts. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, he literally has to go to the conservative end so he's not censored and he can get his message out. And then he sounds like a conservative. And so when the Democrat Party did that and they started to censor him and they called him all kinds of names on CNN, he literally maybe had, 300,000 followers or so. He had hundreds of thousands of followers. But within hours and overnight, he literally gained 1 million followers. Oh, because I think the Democrat base isn't far left. And I think they're going, no to any of this craziness. And they're saying we were hijacked and we need more common sense, people to run. And so I find it very exciting. And I think that I've been hearing from people in New York, because I know people, we have people everywhere. And so they said, Bianca, the excitement over here on the East Coast for Kennedy, because remember, Kennedys were East Coast.
Yes.
So the excitement for the Kennedy name to run for presidency on the East Coast he's drawing in crowds. He's now looking like the Trump of our side, with the big crowds. They're super energized. They're excited about him, Natalia. So what do you see happening? Because look, the Democrat Party is not going to allow him to, they're not going to let him at all debate. They're not going to let anybody debate. How is he going to get his message across? Like, he can't just rely on social media. And obviously none of the mainstream media people want to interview him. So what do you think is going to happen with this?
I think this is great for us, for our party, for our movement, because I predict this is what's going to happen. The Democrat Party, you said all these Democrats are excited and fired up about him because most Democrats are not far left. They want to be in the center, like most normal people, and the Democrat Party are gonna try to sabotage him every step of the way. Mm-hmm. And probably they're gonna accomplish that goal because they rule, they control everything. So when that happens, a lot of Democrats are gonna wake up to the fact that we have always been the party of the freedoms, the party that give voice to the people, the party of the people. Yeah. Really. So we saw back when Bernie, although I don't like Bernie, I'm not
either, but yeah,
to JFK. He's a freaking socialist, okay?
Right.
I'm not comparing him, but I'm comparing in the sense of what happened to him. When he ran against Hillary, they completely sabotaged him because they had Hillary already elected, So yeah. A lot of his supporters came to our side and they were Trump supporters afterwards. So I predict that will happen. That's my prediction.
I love it. I love that prediction. And we're going to have to come back and visit to see as it develops through the election season and see how he really is going to start faring and doing, once he starts really hitting the campaign trail, because we know Sleepy Joe isn't going to hit the campaign trail.
Oh,
Sleepy
no.
Joe is going to be in the basement eating his ice cream and taking his naps. And so therefore, and Kamala is going to go be like, because that's all she does, and so exactly. So that's all we're going to see. So the only Democrat right now that's going to be common sense, trying to say, people, we need to take back and rebuild this country. Who else says we need to go back and, and take back this country and make it great again, right? And so I've been even seeing people on Twitter, Natalia, they're saying, oh my God, can you imagine if Trump chooses Robert Kennedy Jr. as his vice president? That would be historical.
So historical.
Because they're both
establishment,
right? They're
That's why they killed his dad. I mean,
pro-business, save the country. They're both for doing, they're business people, right? And they're going to put America first. And so it's like, how could you not? Can you imagine how many great things we could do policy-wise coming out of legislators, with a Trump, Robert Kennedy Jr., because then there wouldn't be the Trump's trying to pass something and the Democrats don't want to work with you, because now you have a Democrat in the vice presidency. So how can you not work together to do great things for America that are common sense, right? And so I think it would be great, and it will totally bring back conservatism, right? The conservative message, pro-America message, freedom, rights and liberties, the Constitution, because Robert Kennedy Jr. is saying the same thing. He's saying we need to save our Constitution. We need to protect our rights and freedoms. Even he's saying that. So I'm like, this is great, guys. I mean, this is great. I mean, who knows, Natalia? We may see Robert Kennedy Jr. on the debate team, on the debate stage with the Republicans, because he has nowhere else to debate with anybody. So that's fun. But I'm gonna
what a time to be alive.
Actually, definitely, yeah, we're gonna have to definitely come back on and reevaluate after these people start to put, get their campaign really together and we start seeing things develop. So Natalia, where can people find you? I know we've said Red Pill Latina, but where can people find you?
Well, I'm on Instagram, on TikTok, on Facebook. Right now, Facebook is censoring me really hard. But I'm on Twitter, although I'm not super active on Twitter. I should be better at it. But you can find me on all those channels by the Red Pill Latina.
As a Red Pill Latina. Well, Mrs. Natalia, I am so grateful and thank you that you took the time out of your Friday night to be with us here on Stand Up, Stand Out America. I am excited to see more Latinas getting involved in politics, whether it's a local level, a higher level, or just being a voice or being out in the community, taking on those jobs and positions. I just really applaud you that you have come, and joined forces with so many other good Latinas out there that are really just trying to say, hey, our side doesn't really believe in this. We don't believe in killing babies. We don't believe in our kids going to school and learning pornographic, things. We don't want sex talk to be happening in, at the levels that it is in school. I think it's just common sense things. And I think the mama bears on the Latina end are waking up. We're becoming the big grizzlies now, right? And so I just love it. And I thank you. And I'm looking forward to working with you here in our area. And so any last words, Mrs. Natalia? Oh, did we freeze again? Up as she was. Let's see here. See if we can bring her on for any last words. She will. There she comes. Any last words, Red Pill Latina?
Let's keep fighting. Let's not give up. I know sometimes we get discouraged because we see all the stuff that they're doing, all the cheating, the lying. all the manipulations and control. But let's not be wary. Let's continue to fight the good fight because God is watching us and we can do all things through Him.
Amen. That is a beautiful note to leave on. I thank you so much for joining us tonight on Stand Up, Stand Out America with yours truly, Bianca Gracia, yours, La Conservadora Tejana. Until next Friday, guys.